Hi, John. Can you tell us what was the reason for General Milley's call to Russia and to Ukraine today? And can you give some details on why the U.S. troops in Europe have gone on a heightened, not alert, but warning status?
We're concerned about recent escalations of Russian aggression in eastern Ukraine, including violations of the July 2020 ceasefire that led to the deaths of 4 Ukrainian soldiers on the 26th of March and the wounding of 2 others. Russia's destabilizing actions undermine the de-escalation intentions that had been achieved through an OSCE brokered agreement back in July of last year. Additionally, we are aware of Ukrainian military reports concerning Russian troop movements on Ukraine's borders. We're discussing our concerns about this increase in tensions, in ceasefire violations, and regional tensions with NATO allies. I suspect that the outreach by the chairman today, at least as read out by the chairman's staff with his Russian and Ukrainian counterparts, certainly covered this issue and those concerns. But I'd again refer you to his office for more specifics. I'd also note that the National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan spoke Monday with his Ukrainian counterpart, the head of presidential office, Andrei Yermak. Mr. Sullivan affirmed the United States' unwavering support for Ukraine's sovereignty, territorial integrity, and Euro-Atlantic aspirations in the face of continued Russian aggression.
Can I follow that up just quickly? There's videos online which are not verified, but they seem to show a large amount of Russian hardware moving into Crimea. Can you confirm anything about that?
I cannot. No.
John, is the Secretary worried that Russia could be preparing to further its incursion into Ukraine?
We obviously don't want to see any more violations of Ukrainian territory. I'm not going to speak to intelligence matters.
And this is not the only military maneuvers this week. You had 3 Russian ballistic missile submarines going up through the ice in the North Pole. You had Russian bombers flying around Europe. NATO had to scramble dozens of fighter jets. How concerned is the Secretary in this building that this is a menacing presence?
I think we've been very clear about the threats that we see from Russia across domains. You mentioned some maritime issues. You mentioned some air domains. There's certainly cyber threats, and we're taking them very, very seriously.
I just wanted to follow up on the situation in Eastern Europe. Do you have any information to provide about what type of Russian equipment you are seeing built up? Have they had any interaction with U.S. personnel, whether kinetic or electronic interference, and how are our personnel responding?
I have nothing to report with respect to any interactions with U.S. personnel. I mean, these are Ukrainian military reports concerning Russian troop movements on Ukraine's borders. So I know of no interaction with American forces whatsoever. I am not going to speak to intelligence matters in terms of specifically what is being reported with respect to those troop movements. Again, these are Ukrainian military reports that that there have been Russian movements there on that border. And again, I don't think it wouldn't be prudent for me to go into any more detail than that.
Do you have information that this is more than just a training exercise on the part of the Russians?
I think that's one of the reasons why, as I said, we've reached out to Russia to try to gain a little bit more clarity on what exactly is going on, and I'm not prepared right now to speak to the specifics of those conversations as they have just started.
And then a colleague of mine asked earlier why European Command raised the watch level. I was wondering if you could address that, please.
So I can't speak to specifics in terms of the reports about them raising it to a certain level. But just process-wise, so that everybody understands, a watch condition, otherwise known as watch con, basically expresses a combatant commander's concern about a potential threat and the ability to provide future warning. So by setting a WatchCon, basically the commander is better able to identify and track the threat and alert decision makers to emerging concerns. So it's a way of improving and increasing a leader's visibility, noting that there's something worth watching. And the word watch is the operative word in there. That's what a WatchCon is. I can't confirm or speak specifically to what General Walters did or didn't do with respect to his WatchCon levels.